Hi, my name is David Kestner, and I am the President and CEO of the law offices of David Kestner Associates. This video's purpose is to introduce you to the law firm and to just give you some background as to what we do. First of all, the law firm is located at 529 South Broadway, Suite 304. There are two doors that you can access the building from. A door on Broadway, which is actually the back door. There is no elevator. That is where the mailbox is found when you open the door from the street, and our name clearly is on the mailbox. We can also place mail in the mailbox. I prefer to take it over to Spring and 5th Street to do the mail. It's just a little bit more secure, and it goes out faster. If the mailman feels like he doesn't want to pick it up that day, we will never know. The door security code is pound 1379 for both doors. The elevator to the back door is forever slow, and I take the stairs all the time. However, it does allow you to get off onto the alleyway, which is 2R. The law firm practices a number of area law to include litigation, and the subcomponents of litigation are business litigation and tort litigation. Tort litigation being personal injury, slip and fall, auto accidents, those type of things. And in some cases, we have a case currently in the law office that has to do with a manager's neglect to maintain the property at the apartment building, which is known as premise liability. We do a lot of workers' comp, and your main job, if you work for me, is going to be handling my workers' comp clients. The problem with workers' comp clients is they're usually not sophisticated. A lot of my clients are not educated more than the 6th grade and speak Spanish only. So it's important to obviously handle their phone calls because we want them to understand what's going on, but it's also important to get down to the nub of their issue. We'll go into that more later. The office hours are for the assistants are 8:30 until 8 hours later, minus their lunch break. The law requires that I provide you with 2 10-minute breaks between in the morning period and the afternoon period, and those are for you to take. I don't monitor those. Those are available to you to take. If you don't take them, you don't get extra money for that. Your lunch, you'd have to take a half-hour break. You could take more than a half-hour break for lunch, but you have to take at least a half hour. And if you don't take it, and I notice it on your time card or otherwise, I will inform you that if you don't take them, you will be terminated. It's important to also note that the atmosphere in the office is it's casual, but it's serious. And so the casualness of it, the ability to talk to me, has a tendency to throw people off. And you need to realize that the strains and stresses upon me to get the legal work done is greater than you will know until you either have a professional license and a lot of work to be done, or become a lawyer. So if I tell you I want something done, then I really do want it done unless there's a good reason not to get it done. And I want you, and as part of one of the things I like to have happen is I want you to be in my office at 8:30 in the morning. Mainly because if I'm at court at 8:30 and I need to communicate with the office, I have somebody to communicate with. There's a punch-in clock. It has some really wacky time on it, but the time always is right. It's just for some reason it runs a little slow. So it actually is to your benefit. The telephones are all interconnected, and my extension is 202. The extension closest to the printer is 201, and of course the extension farthest away from the printer is 203. The printer has a scanner, and we scan most of our stuff in, but we always want a paper copy of whatever we do. So no matter what we send out, we want to send it out fax, mail, email, and U.S. mail. But if all else fails, we send it U.S. mail. It's sort of a golden rule. And we make sure that the file gets a copy of that, because all the electronic files you can give me, I cannot produce to a judge. You will see me. We use another system, a visual system, when it comes to documents, and it's important to be mindful of this. We use paper clips, specifically red paper clips. Nothing else has a meaning. But if you see something with a red paper clip, that means to pay attention to it. When I see a red paper clip in a stack of papers, I pay attention to it. I understand. I grew up kind of having to work really hard to maintain even the smallest standard of living. I was happy to have a job. So it's important for me that when I have my employees work for me, that they're happy as much as they can be. Obviously, there's limits to what you can do, but I try to make the workplace somewhat jovial and conversational atmosphere. But there is a job to do, and the job has to be done. So there's a lot of times where you'll want to kind of shut everybody else out to get your work done, and that's fair and reasonable. Okay, transportation. I don't pay for parking, and I've stopped paying for parking for my assistants for a long time. And the number one reason I've stopped paying for parking is specifically because if you live in North Hollywood or Compton or Inglewood or Whittier or the West Side, not so much the West Side, but it's so important to take the train. You live a better life taking the train because you're not spending most of your off time in traffic, and it's horrible. The only reason I drive to work is because I have to drive to court sometimes. Otherwise, and I keep strange hours. So my suggestion to all of my employees is take the train. Parking is horrible downtown anyways, because you got to pay at least $6 to park. 6 times 5 is 30. 30 times 4, that's 120. Oh, hold on. Yes. So there you go. It's one of the realities of having the office downtown. On another note, too, there is I get into tough conversations with people, and I present a face and a statement, and those are mine, which you carry out for me. If anybody gives you any problems for the statements that you make that I have directed you to carry out, then your response is, if you have a problem with that, you can talk to Mr. Kessner, and I will have a conversation with them about my thoughts. But nobody's too attack or harass my assistants. Okay, that's it.